And we have the privilege of, for this session, our District Rotary Foundation Chair, Steve Yeager, making a presentation on the Rotary Foundation. And at the end of his presentation, Mary Brown's going to come on with a short presentation. And then we'll take a very short couple-minute break if you need to pick up another cup of coffee and go into Helene Kelfis's presentation on global grants. And so, Steve, you're able to share the screen. Take it away, please.
Thank you. I'd like to thank everybody for spending their Saturday morning with me. I'm going to talk a little bit about the history of the Rotary Foundation, not Rotary International, but the actual foundation. And then I'm going to discuss why it is important for all Rotarians to invest in the Rotary Foundation. So let's get started here. So in 1917, Arch C. Clump, Rotary's sixth president, proposed to the Rotary International Convention in Atlanta, Georgia, the creation of an endowment fund for Rotary for the purpose of doing good in the world in charitable, educational, and other avenues of community service. A few months later, the endowment received its first contribution of $26.50 from the Rotary Club of Kansas City in Missouri.
Steve, you want to share your screen with the program?
Am I not sharing my screen?
No, you have not. So.
Oh, well, crap. Well, let me start over. I'm sorry.
No, just start over.
All right.
Your voice is nice, Steve. Your voice is really, you got the right tone.
Oh, good. Well, let me try this again. It says that I am disabled.
I'll click it again here. Hold on a second. You should be able to share it now.
That better?
Yeah,
Yep.
there you go.
Yay.
All right, let me try this again.
Oh, no.
Okay, here we go. So like I said, in 1917, Arch Clump, Rotary's sixth president, proposed the Rotary International Convention in Atlanta, Georgia, the creation of an endowment fund for Rotary for the purpose of doing good in the world in charitable, educational, and other avenues of community service. And like I said, a few months later, the endowment received its first contribution of $26.50 from the Rotary Club of Kansas City, Missouri. In 1928, when the endowment fund had grown to more than $5,000, the fund was renamed the Rotary Foundation, and it became a distinct entity within Rotary International. 5 trustees, including Clump, were appointed to hold, invest, manage, and administer all of its property as a single trust for the furtherance of the purposes of Rotary International. 2 years later, the foundation made its first grant of $500 to the International Society for Crippled Children. The ISCC, created by Rotarian Edgar F. Daddy Allen, later grew into the Easter Seals organization. The Great Depression and World War II both impeded significant growth for the foundation, but the need for promoting a lasting world peace generated great post-war interest in developing the foundation. After Rotary founder Paul Harris died in 1947, contributions began pouring into Rotary International, and the Paul Harris Memorial Fund was created for the purpose of building the foundation. That same year, the first foundation program was established, Fellowships for Advanced Study, which was the forerunner of the Rotary Ambassadorial Scholarships Program. Then in 1965-66, 3 new programs were launched: Group Study Exchange, Awards for Technical Training, and get this title, Grants for Activities Keeping with the Objective of the Rotary Foundation. Fortunately, they later renamed that to Matching Grants. The Health, Hunger, and Humanity 3H program, That was launched in 1978 with the Volunteers Program being created as part of 3H in 1980. The Polio Plus program was announced in 1984-85, and the following year saw the introduction of Rotary grants for university teachers. The first peace forums were held in 1987-88, leading to the establishment of Rotary Peace Program. Then in 1989, the 1963-64 Rotary International President Carl Miller and his wife Ruth donated $1 million to establish the Discovery Grants Program. Throughout this time, support of the Rotary Foundation grew tremendously. Since that first donation of $26.50, the foundation has received contributions totaling more than $1 billion. That's with a B. In 2019-2020, the Rotary Foundation awarded more than 1,300 grants worth $95.6 million. In addition, since March 2020, the Rotary Foundation has awarded $32 million in global and disaster response grants related to COVID-19. And more than 900,000 individuals have been recognized as Paul Harris Fellows. Realizing the importance and effectiveness of Polio Plus, the Bill and Melinda Gates joined Rotary in 2007 in its fight against polio. In 2013, the Gates Foundation announced that it would match every dollar Rotary commits to polio eradication 2-to-1, up to $35 million per year. In January of 2020, Rotary International and the Gates Foundation announced a renewal of their long-lasting partnership to end polio, announcing a joint commitment of up to an additional $450 million to support the global polio eradication effort. So that was a brief history on the Rotary Foundation. So what exactly is the Rotary Foundation? I've kind of given you a history. What is the Rotary Foundation? Well, I can show you that it's providing vaccines for children to fight polio, providing fresh water to communities around the globe that otherwise have no fresh water, and it's building communities and promoting peace. So I guess the easiest way for me to remember and to kind of put what the Rotary Foundation into perspective is this train. And for those of you that saw my presentation last year, you understand my logic of the train. But I see the engine of this train as the Rotary Foundation. And all of these rail cars behind that engine, those are all of the global projects that Rotary International does. But then you got this one car right here, and that's the coal car. And that's the most important part of this whole train, because when you invest in Rotary, your investments go into that coal car, and those investments power that locomotive that is the Rotary Foundation. And that is what drives all of these grants. Whenever you let this car run dry, if you no longer donate to the Rotary Foundation, it runs out of money, that engine stops, and so does all the hope and dreams of everybody that these projects would benefit. So think of it as the train and remember that coal car. You need to invest in Rotary Foundation. I could speak probably another 5 or 6 hours in depth on what the Rotary Foundation is, but I've kind of narrowed it down to about the 3 most important areas. One of them is giving, which I like to call investing, because that's really what you're doing. You're investing in the Rotary Foundation. Another one is spending, how you spend those investments. And then reporting and recognition, reporting on how those investments were spent and recognition for investing. So what's the easiest way to donate to the Rotary Foundation? Right here, Rotary Direct. But you can go to this website over here on the left, www.myrotary.org/Rotary Direct, and you can download this form. You fill it in, pick the amount that you want, or you can select other. You can give them your checking account, credit card, debit card, fill it all out and mail it in. And here's the address. If you find that to be too difficult, then after you fill the form out, here's their fax number. Just fax it to them. And if you still find that to be too difficult, there's their phone number. Just pick up the phone and give them a call. Say, I want to sign up for Rotary Direct. Now, let me ask you a question. Who out there shops Amazon? Anyone buy anything from Amazon?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, check this out. Amazon Smile. You can sign up for Amazon Smile and you can select Rotary International as your charity. And every time you buy something, they'll donate 0.5% of eligible purchases to your favorite charitable organization, no fees and no extra cost. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, but they've donated over $266 million to charity. Not only can you select to donate the money, you can also purchase products and donate them that way. So that's a great way to invest. What's the other way?
Amazon Direct. Rotary Direct.
But yeah, and how else? You talk to your foundation chair in your club and write them a check. Okay, so we've made our donation to Rotary. Where does that money go? Where does my investment go once it goes to the Rotary Foundation? So if we invest $100 today, it's going to go to the annual fund if you select the annual fund. And that money is going to sit there for 3 years and it is going to generate interest. And that interest gets pulled off by Rotary International and used to fund. Now, after 3 years, they pull that money out and 50% of it goes to the World Fund. And then the other half goes to the district designated funds, which is DDF. Now, the World Fund, that's kind of obscure. You don't hear a lot of people talk about the World Fund, but the World Fund is the fund that matches our global DDF dollar for dollar. Now, I say dollar for dollar because that's what it is now. But as you know, starting July 1, 2021, it would be 80 cents on the dollar. So instead of 100% match, it'll be an 80% match. So keep that in mind when you're funding grants. It also provides the DDF match for Polio Plus, and that's 50 cents on the dollar match. And it also funds Rotary Peace Centers. Now the DDF, what do we use the DDF for? Well, the DDF is used for district grants and it's used for global grants. So how are we going to spend that investment? Well, we're going to spend it with district grants and with global grants. You can invest your DDF in a global grant. We've had quite a few clubs do that. I know Dan Goodrich has a human trafficking grant that we've all donated a lot of DDF to, as well as the West Shores High School grant that past District Governor Taco's working on. We have our community block grants. Those are the grants that we accomplished back in November of last year that we applied for to get money to do projects in our own community. And I think these are so important because that's where you get your visibility and your PR in your community for your Rotary Club. A lot of us donated our DDF to Polio Plus. You can donate your DDF to a VTT, which is a vocational training team. Unfortunately, because of COVID, Barry wasn't able to have one this year, but I do believe that incoming Governor Dan Goodrich has one planned. And you can always donate that DDF to Global Peace Center. So let's get to some reporting and recognition. People that do good like to be recognized. So how are we going to recognize those people? Well, let's see, there's club recognition. So if you go to My Rotary and then hover over the Rotary Foundation and go to Foundation Reports, you can pull up this club recognition summary. And this report is a recognition report, not a contribution report. And for all constituents associated with a Rotary Club, this report summarizes your Paul Harris Fellow recognition totals and also foundation recognition points available toward naming a Paul Harris Fellow. Does everybody know what foundation recognition points are? If you don't, say so and I'll be happy to explain it. Everybody know what foundation recognition points are and how to use them? Good. No? So foundation recognition points, for every dollar you invest in Rotary, you get a recognition point. Now you can use that recognition point and donate it to anybody, Rotarian or non-Rotarian, to help them achieve their next level Paul Harris. All right, see, and there go my dogs right on cue. All right, our next report is the club fundraising analysis. And this report is going to give a historic 5-year snapshot in 6 topic areas. It includes a year-to-date status for the current year and 4 years history prior to that in the areas of annual fund goal, annual fund contributions, total contributions, annual fund per capita, club and district, membership levels, and a 3-year snapshot, every Rotarian every year, sustaining and Paul Harris Society eligible members. Sorry. All right. E-Ray. Does everybody know what E-Ray is? Every Rotarian, every year, every club should strive to be an E-Ray club. An E-Ray report is the E-Ray eligibility report, and you're going to use this report to monitor the annual fund support by the individuals in your club for the current and prior Rotary year. Okay, so let's move to recognition. This is the fun part. So different levels of recognition: Paul Harris Fellowship, Paul Harris Sustaining Member, Paul Harris Society, Benefactor, Major Donor, and Arch Clump Society. So Paul Harris Fellowship, as we know, is recognition of individuals who contribute or have contributions made in their name to the Rotary Foundation. Your recognition is and that's per level, and that is cumulative or a one-time gift or a combination of the two. Your Paul Harris Sustaining Member recognizes an individual who contributes $100 or more each year to the annual fund. Paul Harris Society recognizes an individual who agrees to contribute $1,000 or more each and every year. And then there's a benefactor. A benefactor is anyone who informs the foundation in writing that they have made provisions in their will or other estate plan naming the foundation's permanent fund as a beneficiary, yes, or anyone who makes an outright gift of $1,000 or more to the Rotary Foundation Permanent Fund. So that's benefactor. You can easily become a benefactor by going and naming the Rotary Foundation as a benefactor in your will, and all it takes is $1,000. You won't miss it because you won't be here. Major donor. So a major donor is an individual that donates $10,000 cumulative or as a one-time gift. Like a Paul Harris Fellow, there are different levels of major donor depending on the level of giving. Thing to keep in mind when being considered for major donor, it is cash donations only. They do not count foundation recognition points. Foundation recognition points are counted when you're trying to attain a Paul Harris Fellowship. However, they are excluded from major donor. It is cash donations only. And then we move to the Arts Clump Society, and this is Rotary's highest tier of donors. And it's those who've contributed $250,000 or more during their lifetime. And again, this membership also excludes foundation recognition points. So you ask, where are you in this tier of recognition? Well, I can tell you an easy way to find out. Sign on to myrotary.org. Pretty easy. Once you sign up, or sign in, you'll be at this screen. And what you're going to want to do is take the cursor and you're going to hover over the Rotary Foundation. When you do that, it brings up this secondary menu here. And you're going to hold down and click on Foundation Reports. If you click on Foundation Reports, it takes you to this screen. Now, it takes a moment for load because it is taking you to a different server. So be patient. You're going to see the spin and circle. It will load. And the very first report you come to is your donor history report. So you're going to click on View Report, and you're going to see this screen right here. And you click on Donor History Report. Now, when you click on that report, you are going to see a report that's going to give you your name, your ID, the club that you're in. It lists your recognition levels. It lists the gifts that you've made and what funds you've made those donations to. It'll tell if you're a member of the Bequest Society or a benefactor. It will also tell what Paul Harris Fellow level you are on. It'll tell your Paul Harris Fellow recognition amount. It will have your foundation recognition points that are available to transfer. And it'll also say if you have a Paul Harris Society membership. Now, in the bottom left of this report, there's going to be a little tab that's going to say transaction detail. And if you click on that transaction detail, it's going to give you a transaction detail report of every transaction in your account regarding the Rotary Foundation. It will have any donations that you've made. It will have any recognitions that you've received. It'll show when you received foundation recognition points and what amount. And if you've donated any foundation recognition points, it'll show when, how much, and to whom you donated them from. So it's a very useful report, very easy to find. It's the very first one listed in reports. And I'm going to close with this quote that Arch Klump himself said. So no one can tell us what will be tomorrow, but one thing is certain. What Rotary will be tomorrow depends upon what Rotarians do today. So with that, I end my presentation. Anybody have any questions?
Good job.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Great presentation, Steve. Great presentation.
Thank you. No
If
questions?
this is recorded, can we play it at a club meeting?
Well, I need royalties.
Oh, I'll
Yeah.
give it to the Rotary
Of course.
Foundation.
I'll be happy to send it to anyone that wants it, or you can get the recording. The problem with the presentation is it doesn't have the script that I've got here.
Okay.
I'm happy to present this to anyone's club also. If you want to have me, we can do that.
Thank you.
The recording for all these sessions is up on the district YouTube channel, Rotary
Okay.
District 5330. And this will be up there as well.
Thank you.
I have a specific question. This is Dick Haley from Corona.
Sure.
I found out about a grant that is very, very near and dear to me, and that is a water project for the Navajo Nation in Arizona and Mexico. Forgive me. As a sidelight, if it wasn't for these Navajo Marines, we might not all be speaking English. So I think it's very important that we support these fellas, even though this was during World War II. Where do these grants fall in as far as recognition? You didn't say anything about specialized grants. You did talk about the annual funding session, but where do these specialized grants fall in?
If it is in I'm trying to think of the exact wording that the Rotary Foundation uses, approved global grants, grants recognized by the Rotary Foundation. So say, for instance, like Dick is saying, this project, this Navajo water project is near and dear to your heart, and you're wanting to make a cash contribution to that. If it is an approved global grant, then you can make that donation and you do receive recognition for that, depending on the amount of your donation to that grant.
You know what? Thank you for that, because that makes all the sense in the world. In other words, this is just one tiny grant out of a bucket of them that I'm sure Dr. Kalfas is going to be talking about later. Thank you very much, Steve.
You're welcome. Anybody else?
I got something, but I'm trying to get the word, Steve, so hang on there.
Okay.
The End Polio Now program, is that still, do we have a report card at all on the program year to date? I mean, where we are today, because I understand, and I may be wrong, that the number of cases of polio are very small, very, very, very small. And what caught my eye is that I received in the mail. I'm new at this, by the way, okay, so bear with me. The Polio Plus newsletter came out, part of a monthly primer, and I just noticed it said that by 1994, the cash total exceeded 246 million, but they spent 181 million to buy vaccines and to improve vaccine quality, which left a difference of 65 million. And I look at the numbers and I'm saying, are we doing other things with the Polio Plus, or is Polio Plus still being submitted to Rotary, but yet not that effective, or that's not putting that much emphasis on Polio Plus? Maybe it's being referred to another program. Maybe it could be, whatever. I don't know. I'm just kind of curious, that's all.
Polio Plus is a restricted fund. Anyone that donates money to the Polio Plus fund, that money can only be used in eradication efforts. So,
wow.
So now if you're seeing keep in mind, Rotary International and the Gates Foundation are not the only organizations that are part of the global fight to eradicate polio. You also have the World Health Organization, you have March of Dimes, I think Easter Seal. There's many organizations involved in this. The nice thing is that Rotary International kind of led the charge. I can also tell you that as far as Polio Plus is concerned, that is still the Rotary Foundation's main goal. And they are not going to look at any other programs as far as what to do beyond polio until polio is eradicated. The fear being, start looking at other avenues to invest our money before polio is gone. And that's going to take the importance, and it's going to take the investment away from polio eradication, and then you can start having cases start recurring and we return to a pandemic. By keeping this effort going strong, I can tell you that as of last week, I believe, there have only been 2 new cases of the wild polio virus this year. 2.
Wonderful.
That's amazing. And we've gone multiple weeks without any new cases being reported. And that's in Afghanistan and Pakistan, the only
Wow.
2 countries that this disease is still endemic in. So the effort continues. Like I said, Rotary International has invested more than $2 billion to fight this. We've inoculated close to 3 billion children against this disease, and we will continue this fight on polio, and it will be the Rotary Foundation's #1 emphasis until this disease is gone and we have no one else being afflicted by polio. I hope that answered your question.
Yes, for the most part, it did. Yeah.
On the
Well-
on the weekly cases, if I get an email from one of our Rotary National directors every week on the current caseload every week, and I post that on our district Facebook page. And so every week that's current on the district Facebook page as to how many cases are happening worldwide. They not only take the cases that happen, but they have to do environmental samples as well. And so there's a lot of testing going on with this. And the learnings that have been had over there actually, we're not in the immunization process with COVID-19, but the world is using the network that we've put together worldwide to eradicate polio to learn how to better take on COVID-19.
Cool.
Okay. I'll get on that website and yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for the info.
You're welcome.
Oh, Steve,
Yes, sir.
2 things. One is I really enjoyed the presentation. And 2, for everybody, if you think about Rotary coming from an exclusive club and a toilet to where we are now, you can see the power of how everybody working together works.
So if anyone has any other questions, feel free to email me or call me. I'm always available. If I am not able to take your call at that time, leave me a voicemail and I'll be happy to return your call. I don't want to take any more time away from Mary Brown because what Mary's going to do is really important for you guys that are wanting to do community grants. It's really important that you pay attention to what she says, because if they're not done correctly, then you can not only jeopardize your ability to get a district grant in the future, but our district's ability. You don't want to be that club. Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Okay, Mary, I'm going to get over here to the slides here. So I've got yours put up so we can go through the slides. I'm going to get down here to the end of this where I put them.
I appreciate your help, Rudy.
Well, if I make it work, you will.
I see something down there.
Yeah, it's coming. We're getting there. Here we go. Come up one more. Here we go. We're going to be on here. And I'm going to do the slide set. Oh, come on here. We're going to do a fast run here for Steve.
That's fine. You know, the district community grants are, I'd say 60% underutilized. Every year we have the whole listing of what everybody has. There are some clubs that don't contribute, so they don't have any funds available, but many of the clubs, I think, are afraid of the process, and actually the process is really easy. I know I say that. People apply typically, there we go. People apply at the very beginning of the year. It opens on July 1st, but it closes in about 60 days. So you need to apply for them early if you want to utilize those funds. And we actually had 4 clubs last year that did not complete the process. So they are eliminated from future grants unless they finish those up. So basically, you open up DACDB, and for those of you, I'm assuming everybody here uses DACDB. If you don't, you can ask your secretary to send you your login information. It's just a couple of clicks. So, and I can actually access those too. So when you open up, we're going backwards a little bit. When you open up and you click on the district tab, okay, you go down to district grants, which is on the left side there, you see. Click on that, and then the next slide. Yeah, this is the page that opens up. So this is for this year. Next year, we'll have a different screen, and it'll say a different year, the 21-22. I'm not sure, maybe Steve can say when those amounts are going to be filled in.
The amounts for district grants?
Yeah,
on
for starting July 1.
So starting July 1, you will not use this table on DACDB for your DDF. We have a separate spreadsheet that we are working on that will be forwarded out to all the club presidents here very shortly.
Okay. So when you get that spreadsheet, hold on to that information, because that tells you exactly how much you'll have to utilize for community grants and for your global grants. So then next slide, you go over to the left side here where it says Club Grants View, and you open that up. And this is what you see. I have a picture of my club grant here because that's the one that I can access. But in the upper right-hand corner, there's that long tan-looking bar that says New Club Grant Request. So you can click on that, and then the next slide will open up. And it starts with just four things to fill out. First of all, the details. And if I can emphasize, we have people that write literally short novels in these sections. You don't have to do that. You can be really, really brief, because what happens is this information then gets transferred over to your final report. So be as brief as possible. And I'll tell you what our club did this year. First of all, we purchased some of the district masks. Those were made out of the material from Hawaii, I think most clubs in the district bought those. We donated those to our Hope Food Bank, and they passed them out to people in the community as they loaded up their cars with food. So I just made a brief statement about that. And then we had some funds left over. So what we did was we donated to, we made our own face shields. And so the funds were used up making the face shields. So, and I just put in a brief sentence about that too. Next tab is, so that's your detail page, and there's quite a bit to that. You need to make sure that you go all the way down and fill everything out. Next tab is the clubs involved. So keep it simple unless you're going to do a joint grant with another club. What we have to do, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Steve, but we have to have an MOU for any club that's involved in any grant.
That's correct.
Right.
Correct. So that was made a lot easier this year. I had to verify that information in years past, and it was kind of difficult. So Steve made it really easy. He just made sure everybody had an MOU and I didn't have to worry about it. Okay, next tab is contacts. Now, there again, keep it simple and pick people that you know are going to follow through. What I did in addition to me is I added our club treasurer, because she has access to receipts and pictures. And so I just added her. She really hasn't been involved in it though. Mostly it's been me that's been filling that out. getting it completed. So just, a couple of people from your club. The difficulty when you put multiple people in is that when it's time to wrap things up and I need to contact your club, what I can do is I can actually go into that activity log tab. I don't have a picture of that. And I can see who's been doing the most work on the grant. So if you are the one that's been doing the most work, then I can see that you're the active party, even though there's 4 or 5 people listed on the contacts page. Okay, so let's go on to the next slide.
Can I say something about contacts?
Of course.
When it comes time to add signatures to authorize the grant, everyone that's on that contacts list has to sign it. So if you put someone on that list and they don't have access to DAC&DB, it's going to create a problem in getting that grant authorized. So make sure whoever you put on there, 2, maybe 3 people at the most, and make sure that they have access to DAC&DB, please.
Good, good, thank you. Okay, last tab that you'll see is the application. Now, here again, some of the things will be automatically filled in, but on the very top, your grant time frame. Be realistic with your time frame. Even if you put the end of June as your completion date, you can finish it any time you've actually finished using the grant funds. You have your pictures, you have your receipts, then you can wrap things up. So be realistic about that. Last year we had, and we were in the throes of COVID last year, but we had a lot of people fill out, oh, well, we'll be done by November, or we'll be done by December or January. And a lot of those clubs didn't finish up or haven't finished up yet. And so what I'm trying to do is contact the clubs that said they were going to have an early completion date and get those clubs to get everything submitted so that we can then get things wrapped up, because the last 2 weeks of June, everybody that has a grant to complete is busy trying to get it finished. And I mean, I've had 5 to 10 phone calls in a day. And even though I'm retired, I still have a life. So it makes it difficult to reach everybody in time to get that grant complete. So again, can I emphasize, be brief in your description. There is an item on this page that says the area of service that you're going to use. And if you have a question about that, feel free to give me or give Steve a call and we'll put you in the right direction. I think there's an other, you can check an other and then you can fill something in. But most everything I think our clubs do is in, it's all in the community and it all fits well into the areas of service. So that's pretty much it. This is all you'll see until you move further along on your grant. Then more of the tabs will open up. So if you have any questions at all, my name's in the back of the directory. Please feel free to reach out to me. Does anybody have questions? Did I put you to sleep?
I got a comment.
I have a comment, if I could.
Yeah.
Under the application process, the part that says, where to mail the check, every club is now on file at the district with direct deposit. So for those who don't know, you'll have to fill something out because it's required, but you're going to receive your money coming into your bank account from your club directly from the district.
Yes, and often I have clubs that say, I haven't gotten the funds yet. I always tell them, talk to your treasurer, because your treasurer can verify the funds are in. Go ahead, Steve.
I'd just like to remind everybody, even though this is district designated funds, technically your money, but it's being sent to you from the Rotary Foundation. And when you spend that money, you've got to have justification of how you spent that money. You must keep receipts. We can't justify your expenditures without the receipts. And as Mary said, if you find that you've completed your grant and you have money left over, well, if you don't use that money, you've got to send it back to the Rotary Foundation. You don't want to do that. Use it in your community. Go buy some canned goods and donate it to your local food bank, or buy blankets or socks or underwear or something for the homeless in your area and donate to the homeless shelter. But use the money. We don't want to have to send it back to RI.
And that's a simple thing. You put that in your final report, and that covers all the bases. So it's relatively easy to do. And yesterday, when I was going through a lot of the clubs here, I had 15 clubs, and 2 of them I found have not used up all their funds, and I will be in touch with those clubs. So make sure you use all the money. Any other questions?
I just wanted to say that this process is so very much easier than it has been when we were doing the district designated grants. It is so nice for the clubs to have the money themselves, and it's so easy to put all of this into debt. I am really, really pleased with everything we've been doing for the last couple of years. Thank you so much, Steve and Mary.
Sure, thanks. Okay.
Okay, if there's no more questions here. This is been really good discussion, Steve. Thank you for that, and Mary. Don't be afraid to reach out to these folks. They're there to help you. They really are Rotary 100 24/7. So Mary will take 11th call when she needs to.
Yeah, I will.
But what's ever needed there. And Dan, you got any final comments on this before we take a little break and move to Helene?
Spend your money. You donated it. Your club members want you to spend your money. They didn't give the money to the Rotary Foundation for you to hold on to it. Put it to work. We're in the service business. Let's use it. Okay, that's my only inspirational words for this. Spend your money. So many times we have to send it back. It tears the heart out of my chest that we're giving it back when we could be using it. We could be using it for greater good in our community. So if you need help and you don't understand, you can collaborate with other clubs. You can reach out to Steve. You can reach out to Mary. But please spend your money. That's it.
Yeah, I believe one of the other requirements that Jamie Zinn covered here as our district treasurer is to make sure all your clubs are registered with the Secretary of State in California here. Otherwise, she won't send you a check till you get that done. If you have any questions on that, reach out to Jamie and she can walk you through that process.
The only person that benefits when you don't spend your EDF is the banker. We don't want to make the banker richer. We want to make our communities richer. Put that money back into your community.
All right, it's 9:51. Many of you, I hope, are going to stay on for the global grants training after this, so don't leave. Leave your computer on. If you need to take a short break, get another cup of coffee, freshen up a bit, and come back, and we'll crank up sharp here at 10 a.m. And go on with the next session. So again, Steve and Mary, thank you very much. And
question.
Yes.
So for Steve and Mary, if they have a club that has DDF money that has not been spent, can they use that in the following year for a global grant project?
Absolutely. Keep in mind that once DDF rolls over, then it can only be used on the global side. You can donate it to Polio Club, you can use it for a global grant, you can donate to a global peace center. You have a small amount, which we will, after Dan takes over, and we'll tell you how much you have available that you can use on the community block grant. You can only use a portion of your DDF that comes back each year for your community block grant. It's optional. You don't have to use it. You can. And if you do, then that comes out of your DDF total, your total available. And then once we close the window on community block grants, then that DDF becomes locked in on the global side. You can only use it on the global side. And then if you don't use it that year, it rolls over. Now, what we need to get everybody in the habit of doing is spending that DDF, because starting July 1, 2026, any DDF that is older than 5 years, Rotary International is going to take it away. They're going to say you have to spend it in a specific place. So we don't want that to happen. We want you guys to be able to spend your own money.
And Mary, you said there's 3 clubs in the district right now that have DDF funds that have not been spent. Is that right?
No, what I said was there were 3 or 4 clubs that did not complete their grant.
Okay. I misunderstood. Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much. Well, I'm working, the Rancho Mirage Club is working on a global grant, and we'll be seeking partnerships with other clubs and funding.
All right, I'm going to stop this recording for this